Have you ever looked at a man and wondered, what is it about him that makes women lean in closer, hang on his every word and feel drawn to him without him trying? It's not the car he drives, not the brand of suit he's wearing, and definitely not some cheesy pickup line he rehearsed in the mirror. No, it's something deeper. It's who he is, and more importantly, how he speaks. Now, before we dive into the 10 life-changing insights from Marcus Aurelius that will completely rewire how you talk to women, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're serious about becoming the kind of high-value man that Stoic women and all women respect and admire. This isn't a video you want to skip halfway through. Trust me, the final tip could change your entire love life. Imagine a Roman general, not just any general, but the most powerful man in the empire. He's surrounded by politics, war, betrayal, and yet he remains calm, intentional, grounded. He's respected by warriors, feared by enemies, and yes, admired by women not because of his title, but because of his presence. That man is Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher of ancient Rome. But what does Marcus have to do with how you talk to women today? Everything. Because the way high-value men speak to women, to the world, and to themselves hasn't changed for over 2,000 years. And today, we're uncovering 10 powerful, Stoic suggestions that will transform the way you communicate and attract. 1. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Do you remember your first real crush? That moment, maybe back in high school or college, when just hearing her voice or seeing her name pop up on your phone made your stomach flip? Yeah, that feeling. That pure, innocent rush of emotion. You didn't care about being perfect or saying the right thing. You just wanted her to know you liked her, that she mattered. Now fast forward to today. Somewhere along the way, things got complicated. You started watching videos, reading books, overthinking every message, every glance, every response. Should I compliment her or will that look needy? Should I call now or wait 3 days? Should I act mysterious or show interest? And suddenly you're stuck, overanalyzing, hesitating, trying to craft the perfect version of a high-value man instead of just being one. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor of Rome, has a brutal but beautiful line. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Let that sink in. He's not saying be perfect. He's not saying be emotionless. He's saying enough pretending, enough performing. Just show up as your best self, right now, not later. Not when you've got the perfect job. Not when you've memorized all the dating techniques. Not when you think she'll say yes. But now, you see, women don't want a man who's trying to be high value. They want a man who is high value because he knows his worth, not because he's trying to prove it. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a guy, let's call him Jay. Jay fell for this girl during a work project. She had the kind of laugh that made you want to tell jokes just to hear it again. He liked her a lot, but he kept hesitating. Should I tell her how I feel? Should I wait for the right time? He waited so long that someone else didn't. She moved on. Not because Jay was a bad guy, but because she never got to meet the real him. He was too busy thinking about being the right man, instead of being the right man. This video you're watching, it's not just a guide, it's a mirror, a reminder. You don't need to become someone else. You need to become more of who you truly are, without fear, without disguise. Now let me ask you this. Is there someone you think about before falling asleep? Someone you wish you could just be real with? No games, no masks? Then stop thinking, start being. She doesn't want a perfectly scripted man. She wants you as you are, standing tall in your truth. Choose you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Have you ever been texting someone you really liked? And after sending what felt like the perfect message, you just stared at your phone? Waiting, wondering, refreshing the screen, convincing yourself maybe she didn't see it yet. Maybe she's just busy. Hours go by, nothing, and in that silence, you start to panic. You feel small, powerless, anxious. If that's ever happened to you, brother, you're not alone. That was me once too. I still remember her name. Let's call her Layla. Layla wasn't just beautiful, she had a kind of quiet intensity in her eyes that made it feel like she saw right through me. We met through mutual friends, had a few deep conversations, and man, I was hooked. I did everything right. Played it cool, texted with just enough humor, opened up just enough. I thought I nailed it. Then one day, radio silence. No response. Nothing. I lost sleep over it. checked my messages over and over again, wondering what I did wrong, replayed every word like it was a crime scene. I was spiraling over something completely outside my control, and then, like a lifeline thrown across time and space, I came across these words from Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. In that moment, something clicked. I was giving all my power away, to a situation I couldn't control, to a response I couldn't force, to a woman who owed me nothing. And it hit me. The pain wasn't about her not texting me back. The pain was that I forgot who I was. I forgot that I still had power. The power to choose my response, to stay centered, to breathe, to not make her silence a reflection of my worth. Let me bring this home to you. Right now, you might be chasing someone, waiting for a call, trying to prove you're good enough. But ask yourself, why do we place our happiness in someone else's hands? Why do we let someone else's attention or absence shake the foundation of who we are? High-value men don't operate that way. They know this simple truth. You can't control her emotions. You can't control her response. But you can control how you carry yourself through it. You can respond with calm. You can stay grounded. You can keep being you. That's the real flex. And I'll be real with you, Layla never texted back, but I stopped needing her to. Because I remembered that who I am isn't defined by her yes or her no. It's defined by how I choose to walk forward. Strong, centered, sovereign. So tell me, who's that one person who made your heart race and then left you hanging? Don't run from that feeling. Use it. Let it remind you that the only thing you truly need control over is you. 3. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Have you ever liked someone so much that you couldn't stop thinking about them? You'd wake up wondering what they were doing. You'd hear a song and imagine them next to you. You'd even rewrite conversations in your head, thinking, if I had said this instead, maybe things would be different. We've all been there. That silent movie that plays in our mind on repeat. The one where we always say the right thing. The one where they choose us, love us, and never leave. But here's the twist. Sometimes it's not love that traps us. It's our own thoughts. Let me take you back to a time I still remember like it was yesterday. Her name was Mia. She had that kind of laugh that made strangers turn around. We weren't official, but we were something. Late-night texts, weekend hangouts, deep talks about dreams and fears. Until one day it just faded. Not a breakup, not a fight, just silence. But in my head, it was chaos. I couldn't stop thinking about her. I'd scroll through old messages, look at photos, stalk her social media trying to read between the lines. I thought I was missing her, but in truth I was drowning in my own thoughts, and that's where Marcus Aurelius saved me. He said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." That line hit me like a slap and a hug at the same time, because I realized I wasn't heartbroken over Mia. I was heartbroken by the stories I kept telling myself. She chose someone better. I wasn't enough. I'll never find someone like her again. None of it was true. But I repeated it so much it became my reality. So I flipped the script. I started asking different questions. What did I learn from this? What can I do better next time? Who am I when I'm not chasing someone's love? And slowly, the pain didn't vanish. But it changed. It stopped being a storm and became a teacher. So now I ask you, what story are you telling yourself about love right now? That you're not good enough? That they're the only one who'll ever love you? That you'll be alone forever? Be honest, because those thoughts, they're shaping the way you show up. And women, they feel that. They sense when you're trapped in insecurity, but they also sense when you're at peace, when your mind is calm, and when you're present. A high-value man doesn't chase happiness through people. He builds it in his mind. He trains his thoughts like a soldier trains his body. So tell me, if your thoughts shaped your future relationship, would you be proud of the love you're creating in your head right now? For if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Have you ever told someone what they wanted to hear, even though it wasn't how you really felt, just to keep them close? Maybe you said, "Yeah, I'm okay," when you were hurting. Or maybe you nodded and agreed, even when something felt wrong deep in your gut. We've all done it, especially when love is on the line. Let me tell you about the time I did that and how it nearly broke me. Her name was Ava. She had this energy that pulled you in, warm, wild, unpredictable. She wasn't just the kind of girl you date. She was the kind of girl you imagine your future with. We weren't on the same page about a lot of things. She wanted freedom. I wanted stability. She wanted to explore. I wanted to build, but I didn't say anything. I ignored the small lies I told myself. I smiled when I should have spoken up. I agreed when I should have stood tall. Why? Because I was scared. Scared to lose her. Scared that being honest would mean being alone. But deep down I knew what I was doing wasn't right, and what I was saying wasn't true. And then I came across this Stoic principle from Marcus Aurelius. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. It was like a mirror I couldn't look away from, because every time I stayed silent to avoid conflict, every time I pretended just to be accepted, I was losing a little bit of myself. Let me ask you right now, have you ever felt that? That slow erosion of your voice, your truth, your boundaries just to keep someone next to you? It doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. But the longer you stay in that pattern, the further you drift from the man you're meant to be. High-value men don't lie to be loved. They don't bend to be chosen. They know that love rooted in dishonesty is already halfway to breaking. And women? They can tell, even if they can't explain it. They feel when you're not being fully you. So here's a shift. Next time you feel tempted to say something just to keep her happy, ask yourself, is it true? Is it right? Because the moment you start honoring your truth, your honesty becomes magnetic. Not everyone will like it. But the right woman, the woman meant for you, she'll respect it. She'll trust it. And she'll stay for it. So tell me, is there a moment in your past where you stayed quiet, when you should have spoken your truth? Would you go back and speak up? If you had the chance, you still can. It starts now. 5. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. When was the last time you asked yourself, am I enough? Enough to be loved. Enough to be chosen. Enough to be the kind of man she'd stay up late texting, not ghosting. We don't always say it out loud, but we think it. We feel it. There was a time in my life when I was stuck in that very question. And like many of us, it all started with a girl. Her name was Elena. Soft voice. Big dreams. She looked at the world like it was art, and somehow, she looked at me like I was a masterpiece too, at least in the beginning. I remember the night it changed. We were at this rooftop cafe, just us, city lights, and the sound of distant traffic humming below. She looked me in the eye and said, I just don't know what you want. That hit me like a punch I never saw coming. Because the truth, I didn't know either. I spent so much time trying to be the guy she'd love. The chill guy, the funny guy, the deep thinker guy. I never stopped to ask myself, who am I actually trying to be? And then, like fate knew I needed it, I read this line from Marcus Aurelius. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Those words burned through my excuses. Because I realized I was always chasing an idea, comparing myself to others, trying to fit into some checklist of what I thought women wanted, but I wasn't being anything. I was performing. And here's what I learned that night. And I want you to feel this in your soul. You don't attract love by being what you think she wants. You attract love by becoming someone you're proud of. A man who speaks with purpose. A man who knows his values. A man who doesn't fold when he feels lonely or lost, but rises. So let me ask you right now, who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when your phone isn't buzzing with her name? Would you want your sister to date a man like you? Would your future son look up to the man you are today? You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be real. Stop asking, how do I get her to love me? And start asking, how can I become someone worth loving even if she never sees it? Because when you walk in that kind of truth, when you become him, the man you were always meant to be, you won't have to chase love. Love will notice, and it will respect you enough not to play games. So, have you been wasting time trying to be good enough? Or are you ready to just be the man without apology? 6. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Have you ever loved someone who didn't love you back the way you needed? Not because they were cruel, but because life just didn't line up the way your heart wanted it to? Let's be honest. We don't just remember the people who stayed. We remember the ones who left holes in us, the ones who made us feel something so deep We never really saw the world the same again. That was her. Her name was Liana. She had a heart like fire, too warm to hold, too wild to tame. She wasn't the kind of love that sits beside you quietly. She was the kind of love that moved through you like a storm. I thought I was ready for her. But life had other plans. Timing, distance, misunderstood intentions, and one night it all came to a quiet end. No screaming. No slammed doors. Just a soft maybe we're not right for each other right now. And I remember, for weeks I couldn't move. Not physically, emotionally. Her absence wasn't just silence, it was noise. Loud, echoing noise inside my chest. I kept thinking, how can something that felt so powerful just stop? That's when I came across this line from Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. And for the first time, I didn't just read it, I felt it. Because her leaving what felt like a loss was actually the thing I needed to grow. Let me ask you right now, what pain are you carrying in your heart? A rejection? A betrayal? An unanswered message you still replay at 2 a.m.? What if I told you that the very thing breaking your heart right now is the key to becoming the man you were meant to be? What if her silence was the push you needed to stop seeking validation from love and start creating your own worth? Pain doesn't block your path. It is your path. I started waking up earlier, hitting the gym like my life depended on it. Reading, building, rebuilding. Not to win her back, but to meet myself for the first time. That heartbreak wasn't the end. It was the beginning. The fire that burned away who I thought I was and revealed who I could become. And brother, you have that same fire inside you. So let me ask you, are you still staring at the wall? Or are you ready to realize that the wall is the door? That pain, it's not in the way. It is the way. Sebastian, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Have you ever felt completely out of control in love? Like your heart was a puppet in every outside event. Her mood, her words, her actions pulled the strings? I've been there. And it's one of the most exhausting feelings in the world. There was this time with a girl I thought was the one. Her name was Sarah. She was light and laughter and late night talks that made time stop. But she was also unpredictable, sometimes warm, sometimes distant. And for months I felt like I was riding a roller coaster with no brakes. One day, after a particularly cold text from her, I found myself spiraling. What did I do wrong? Was she losing interest? Am I not enough? I remember sitting alone on my couch, heart pounding, mind racing, feeling completely powerless. That's when I stumbled on this line from Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. It was like a light bulb flicked on in the dark. Because I had been giving all my power away. To her moods. To her texts. To her approval. And that wasn't love. That was losing myself. So I made a choice right then and there. I would no longer let my peace depend on things I couldn't control. It wasn't easy. Every time I felt the urge to check my phone or obsess over a message, I reminded myself, you have power over your mind. I started to focus on what I could control, my thoughts, my actions, my attitude. And slowly something changed. I became calm in the storm. I stopped chasing her approval like a child chasing a kite in the wind. And in that calm, I started to see things clearer. Here's the truth you need to hear. You cannot control how she feels, what she does, or when she texts back. But you can control your reaction, your mindset, your strength. Let me ask you right now, how many times have you lost sleep over her silence? How many nights did you replay conversations, twisting yourself into knots? What if, instead of losing your mind over her actions, you took back control of your own? Because that power, real power, is freedom. Freedom from anxiety. Freedom from insecurity. Freedom to be the man who walks through love unshaken, unbothered, and unbreakable. And here's the best part. When you own your mind, when you refuse to be a victim of outside events, you become magnetic. Not because you try harder, but because you radiate strength. So tell me, are you ready to stop giving your power away? Are you ready to find strength in yourself? No matter what she does or says, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Let me ask you something real. Something many of us have felt deep inside, but rarely admit out loud. Have you ever been hurt by someone you loved? Not just a little hurt, but cut so deep that part of you wanted to lash back, to pay them back in kind. I've been there. And trust me, the temptation to strike back is real. Her name was Maya. We'd been together for a while, long enough to think we'd built something solid. But one day everything cracked. She lied. Not just a little white lie, something that shattered my trust. I felt like the floor beneath me had disappeared. Anger surged like a wildfire. I wanted to scream, to blame, to hurt her back. I wanted revenge. But in that moment of rage, I remembered something Marcus Aurelius once said. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. That hit me like a punch and a hug at the same time. Because here's the truth. If I became bitter and vengeful, I would be giving her power over me. I'd be lowering myself to her level. And that wasn't the man I wanted to be. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt that pull? To fight fire with fire? To answer pain with pain? It's natural. It's human. But here's what I learned. Real strength isn't in revenge. Real strength is rising above the hurt. Instead of sinking into bitterness, I chose something different. I chose to heal. To grow. To become better. Because every time you let anger control you, you lose a little bit of your freedom. You chain yourself to the past, trapped in pain. But when you choose to be unlike the person who hurt you, you reclaim your power. You show the world and yourself that your worth isn't tied to how others treat you. So let me ask you right now, who hurt you? What story do you keep replaying in your mind, wishing you could rewrite? And what if the best revenge isn't revenge at all? What if it's becoming the man who's unbreakable? Not because he's cold or cruel, but because he's stronger, wiser, and refuses to be defined by pain? I won't lie, this isn't easy. It takes time. It takes courage. But the freedom you get on the other side, it's worth it. So tell me, are you ready to stop living in the shadow of your past hurts? Are you ready to be the man who doesn't just survive the pain but transcends it? As if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Let me ask you something that might make you pause for a moment. Have you ever told a lie in love? Maybe a small one, or maybe something bigger that you convinced yourself was harmless. I want you to think back to your own story. That moment when you chose to say what you thought she wanted to hear, rather than the truth. I remember mine clearly. Her name was Claire. We were in that early phase. Everything electric, everything new. But beneath all that excitement, I was hiding something. I wasn't honest about how scared I was. Scared of rejection. Scared of being too vulnerable. So instead of saying what was true, I crafted words that painted me in a better light. I told her I was fine when I wasn't. I said I was busy when I was avoiding hard conversations. Little lies, I thought. Nothing that would hurt. But those small lies, they built a wall between us. A wall I couldn't climb over. One night after a long silence, she said quietly, "Why don't you just tell me what's really going on?" That question hit me harder than I expected. And in that moment, I remembered Marcus Aurelius's words. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Those words peeled back my excuses. I realized that truth isn't just about honesty with others. It's about being honest with yourself first. So I did something terrifying. I told her the truth. About my fears, my doubts, my real feelings. And here's what I want you to hear. That kind of truth. It's messy. It's raw. It's uncomfortable. But it's also the foundation of anything real and lasting. Let me ask you right now, when was the last time you were completely truthful in love? Not just saying the easy things, but the hard things too. Because hiding behind lies, even little ones, kills connection. It builds walls where there should be bridges. And the irony? When you embrace truth, you don't just free her. You free yourself. You stop pretending. You stop performing. You become the man who can stand tall, flaws and all. So here's the challenge for you today. Are you ready to stop saying what's easy and start saying what's true? Even if it scares you? Even if it feels risky? Because that kind of courage, that's what makes a man truly high value. And when you live by that truth, something incredible happens. Women don't just like you. They respect you. They trust you. They want to be with you, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. So what truth do you need to tell today? What lie are you ready to leave behind? 10. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. How many times have you caught yourself wondering what it means to be a good man in love? How often have you sat alone asking, am I enough? Or maybe you've searched for advice, read countless articles, watched videos, hoping to find the secret formula. I've been there. And I know that struggle. There was a time when I obsessed over this question. What does it mean to be the man she deserves? I'd ask friends, read self-help books, try to act like someone I wasn't, all in the hope of winning her heart. Her name was Emily. We met during a summer that felt like it had been pulled straight from a movie. Sunsets, late-night drives, laughter that spilled into dawn. But as the months passed, I found myself stuck in this endless loop of self-doubt and confusion. Was I kind enough? Was I strong enough? Did I listen enough? I remember one night walking home after a fight, feeling completely lost. I thought if only I knew what a good man really is, maybe I wouldn't be here feeling this way. And then I came across this quote from Marcus Aurelius. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. It hit me like a thunderbolt. Because I had been wasting so much energy debating what I should be, I forgot to simply be. Not perfect, not someone else's ideal, just me, showing up every day with integrity, kindness, and courage. So I started small. I listened more, not just waiting for my turn to talk, but really listened. I showed up on time with attention and care. I admitted when I was wrong instead of hiding behind pride. And I made choices that aligned with the man I wanted to be, not the man I thought she wanted. Let me ask you right now, what if being a good man isn't about perfection or grand gestures? What if it's about showing up day after day with honesty and heart? I want you to think about your own love story. Not the perfect moments, but the real ones. The times you chose patience over anger. The times you stayed calm when everything screamed to lose it. The times you forgave. Not because she deserved it, but because you did. Because that's what being a good man really means. It's a daily decision. A quiet commitment to grow. To act with dignity no matter the outcome. So I want you to ask yourself, are you ready to stop arguing about who you should be? Are you ready to just be that man? A man who leads with strength and softness. A man who builds, not breaks. A man who loves, not just talks about it. If that's you, then keep watching, because the next step is learning how to carry that strength into every conversation you have with her. And trust me, once you do that, women won't just love you. They'll respect the man you've become. Now back to that Roman general. He never raised his voice. He never needed to boast. He simply was, still calm, wise. A man whose words carried weight because they were backed by virtue. You want to be that man? Start with these 10 teachings. Practice them. Live them, speak them. Women will love you, not because you tried to impress them, but because you reminded them of something rare. A man who knows who he is and speaks from that place. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.